This is the Three Skeevers podcast.
All right, episode 44 of the Three Skeevers podcast. I'm Icy with Icyfire Gaming, and I co-host with Grim over at Grimsforge Gaming. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about one of the guilds we just met down in the Imperial City, the Art of War, and we also have a special guest today, JTK Gaming, and we're going to discuss some things that he has planned in the near future regarding the PvP Council and what we can expect from it. Hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, Grim, so before we get started with JTK Gaming, why don't you tell me about our new friends that we just met last week in the sewers?
Yeah, I'm super excited. We're working with the leaders, the guild leader, and a lot of the other trainers from this guild. It is a multi-faction guild that is geared around PvP. And I would say it's very similar to like a PvP university. They have a handful of trainers that are really nice people, and they're able to meet you at whatever level you are for PvP. Right now, they've got almost a full guild of people interested in learning PvP. And so, like when we talk about our rating system, level ones, level twos, and level threes, and level fours, even the most basic level one, if you want to learn how to do, learn about Cyrodiil, learn about Imperial City, learn about Battlegrounds, and get a build and run with some friends and figure that out. They're like, I don't know, I really like their message. We're like living in this day and age right now in ESO where there's so much noise in the community, and we'll talk about that with JTK Gaming here in a little bit, but there's so much noise and so much toxicity on both sides of the line, like on the PvE side and on the PvP side. And we really need some people in the community that just kind of step up and teach the proper way to PvP and the proper way to be a human, I guess, represent, the human race, like how to treat other people and individuals. And so I really like what I see out of these guys. They're helping beginners, they're helping intermediate, and they're helping advanced people. So it's the Art of War is the guild, and I think of has like it's an alt lettering of, so it has the little arrow above it, Art of War, and Chaos or at Chaos is the leader there. I'll try and get the information for the descriptions below for their guild if you're interested, but they're on PCNA. So
Okay, yeah, sounds exciting. I can't wait to work with some of them to help spread the good news of PvP healing and get more folks involved with it. That'll be a lot of fun.
yeah, they're super hungry. As a matter of fact, like even if you look in our Grimsforge Gaming Discord, 10, 15 of them have already come over here and are asking about builds and what's viable, what's not. Because we live in this weird time frame too in ESO where hybridization and, builds, and it's a whole new world, right? As far as builds go, if you look at builds from just 3 months ago, 4 months ago, the change to CP, the change to the builds and everything, um, you have a lot of options now in the game. And so, I don't know, interesting times.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And especially with PvP, there's so much cre- room for innovation, I'll say, where in the PvP world, it's more strictly defined, especially when it comes to trials and things like that. If you're not running these sets, don't bother coming because we don't want you. But
Right.
with
Yeah.
PvP, you could run whatever you want. But equally, I've been learning this past week or so, practicing with the ball group. I'm not saying I'm a full-fledged ball grouper. I'm just, trying it out for a bit right now. And it reminds me of trials where, hey, we have the list of sets we'd like you to run. And, to fit this role as a PvP healer, please come with these sets and put these skills on and boom, there it is. So it's very similar in that respect. But that's again ball groups specifically, but the same concepts apply because they want to run as optimized as you can because everybody is taking a hit for the team with the sets that they're running because they're going for more group explosions and things like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've been talking about. We just had a leader meeting earlier today in Discord, and we were talking about the difference between legitimate ball groups and just, multiple people grouped up and running in the same direction as opposed to small man groups. And, you know, then, 1VX builds versus 2VX builds and stuff. So just kind of establishing a, a base or a ground of understanding. So it's been really interesting, and everybody there is so helpful with each other and like interested in learning, if they feel like they're lacking in a particular part, everybody it seems very zero ego, like I even told them, I'm like, I die all the time. So, I'm not the best PvPer. I've done some really impressive stuff, but I die too. So, um, let's just see what we can pass on. I told them that's kind of my legacy, I think, is the information or knowledge. And as a coach, I really enjoy teaching. So my legacy in ESO is going to be passing the torch or passing this knowledge on that I've learned over, 140, 150 characters and leveling them. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Do they have a specific specialty or area of focus that they want to do, like dueling or small scale or,
they literally are doing it all. They have so many raid leads and so many people, their schedule, they're running multiple outings a day for Cyrodiil and for Icy and for dueling. They're doing it all.
wow.
So yeah, all hours of the day too. So they have early morning groups that are flipping the maps or moving, um, get at least farming AP. They have groups that are running IC, and they're multi-faction. So they could be on AD in Imperial City in the morning and on EP in Imperial City that night, or for Cyrodiil, or they could be on EP running Cyrodiil and then jump on DC and go. Or, we were, they were putting battleground groups together, and they had enough to run 2 full teams for battleground. So they had 8 people, and they were hoping to get in the same battleground, right? But unfortunately, it didn't happen. And so then I had mentioned war games for the sewers,
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. That
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Yeah. So put your squads together on the different factions, and then I said you, me, and Papa or whatever could go down and test their groups, and it's that random encounter, let's see how it goes. And then we could kind of issue report cards afterwards, and we'll firsthand know who we need to work on and what we need to work on with them. So war games would be a fun thing. And so we brought that up, and then we brought up that game that we had played quite a while ago with Great Glory, and that was the Manhunt, where I was on Mandalorian. And it teaches everybody kind of how to hunt a Nightblade, deal with a Nightblade, and you remember I just threw 10K Telvar on and went up into a district. Everybody from the guild was all in the same faction. Actually, not everybody was in the same faction, but everyone was on rival factions to who I was on. And we started across the entire district, and then we isolated it down to half the district, and then we isolated it down to a quarter of the district, right? And then they got me at the end, and at risk and reward, I'm running around with 10K Telvar, so whoever gets me, gets a reward. So, but
It's funny because I remember doing that day, and obviously that was literally 2 years ago, almost to the day, I think. And I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, man, there's no way you'd be getting past me today, right?
Right.
But
Right.
back then I was learning all about this stuff, and you know, I don't mean to critique the setup or anything, Grim, but since then the invisibility changes. I think the way invisibility works nowadays, it's a lot better, and Nightblades are able to hide more effectively, and you're able to catch them more effectively. So yeah, no, I'll be sticking to you like glue. If that's the case, you ain't getting. I'm gonna be getting that 10K Telvar or the
Yeah.
5K.
I mean, and that's the fun of it, is when the hunter becomes the prey, right? So,
Yeah, and actually, now that I'm like kind of describing the whole situation, for them, because they're getting into PvP, it's going to train those habits on how to fight a Nightblade, how to find and locate one as well, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, no, it sounds like Yeah, this is gonna be a win all over. No matter what sort of like war game or scenario that we'll do for training. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a
And,
win-win.
and if you've been up to the districts right now, like PCNA, I was just on there running alongside one of their guild outings, and I'm just kind of the tail. If I'm gonna be bit, if the tail's gonna be bit, go ahead and bite on me. Let these guys go about their day. And this is about 15 minutes before I had to jump into the podcast, and I get jumped by 5 DC Nightblades.
Was it Sadair?
No, I don't think it was Sadair. I
Okay,
don't know.
because every time I go to freaking Cyrodiil, that guy, he's always on my ass. He doesn't kill me unless I let him kill me.
Yeah.
But I will say this: he is the only Nightblade that jumps on me that actually puts a lot of pressure. Where I'm not saying I get a little nervous, but I'm like, "Eek," you know.
You know what? Maybe we have to, Sadair, we're coming for you.
I don't. Well, see,
Don't
I
make
don't
me
want to.
put Mando back together. I'll put the Mando. I'll bring that 9K Mando weapon damage build for you, Sadair.
Listen, Grim, don't lump me in there with you, all right? Because I ain't looking for that smoke, okay? Because he runs with like 12. He runs with 12 Nightblades in his group, and I don't want none of that. All right. So
Yeah.
I'll heal you from up top. All right, over there, like on top of the keep and stuff, while you're um, uh, looking for that 1v1.
Yeah, it's hard to look for that 1v1 when they've got 12 buddies stealth right around, there is no honor amongst thieves, right? So you don't expect the 1v1.
Yeah. What's his guild name again? I forget.
Lords of the Shaft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lords of the Shop. Yep, those guys. Good lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
They make me laugh. They certainly make me laugh. That's 100%.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never really had a problem with them, but when you talk to everybody, they're notorious.
Oh
They
yeah.
are, yeah, public enemy number one, right? So I guess mission accomplished on their part.
Oh yeah. No. Whenever I'm running with Shiro and Emma, we encounter them. I don't really. I don't say anything negative at all. I just kind of laugh, and I'll see my buddy Seek out there, and I'll just kind of we'll jump around and like light attack each other, but that's about it. Yeah. But then it can quickly turn the other way. It's like all right, it's game's on. So it's
Yeah.
always fun out there fighting against your friends.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I think too. But yeah, I never had a problem with them, but I know a large part of the community has. So, but
Yeah.
learning how to combat a Nightblade, like in training, I think just today we were talking about if you get jumped on by a Nightblade and you have to break free, dodge roll backwards through them, because if they're going through their regular rotation and they miss any of their rotation, now they're off balance and a heavy attack will stun them. And so that's pretty nice. But also dodge rolling backwards through them puts them now in front of you. And so you can immediately CC them and maybe burst them down. Because Nightblades typically like to run very glass cannon. And so if you can catch them, you might be able to, time to kill is super short right now. So might be able to kill them just as quick as they killed you.
Absolutely. Okay. So I think that kind of wraps up the introduction. Anything else you want to say about Art of Wargrim?
No, they're just super friendly. If you're interested, check out the descriptions below. I think it's a great platform to learn PvP. I don't recall on the times I ran with them anyone using profanity at all. It was very calm, very friendly, joking, and very educational. That's what everything was. So it was very mature. Um, Teaching, it literally was like a university. Imagine these people are the professors and they're teaching PvP, the how to of PvP. And anybody that shows any level of toxicity, you're out. Go figure it out on your own. They're not dealing with that. And so, yeah, but I guess let's get JTK on here. He's been waiting.
Awesome. Let's do it. So how you doing, JTK?
Not too bad, dude. It's 7:20 in the morning, so I'm a little bit tired. But besides from that, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, you're on that Australian time, right?
That's it.
All right.
Good old Aussie time.
So for those that might not know you, can you give us a little bit of an introduction on what your channel is all about and what you do for ESO?
Yeah, so I started way back. As I said before when we're talking, I used to lead one of the biggest DC PvP guilds, and more so these days, I'm solo, maybe a duo here and there. And yeah, we're just trying at the moment to get something different started in the community, see if we can make a change with the PvP council. So I think that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes. So, since you mentioned it, yeah, tell us a little about this PvP council. What's the, I guess, what's the intent and like, what do you want the end result to be?
Maybe we should talk about ninjas and our chat there, because this is kind of what led from that. So maybe it might make more sense to do it in that order if you want.
Okay, I'm not too familiar with the backstory to it, but I think Grim, are you familiar with it or?
Yeah, there was just some comments that were made, from one of the ESO streamers, Ninja. And do you remember the exact comment, JT?
So yeah, basically what happened was Rich posted a tweet about not being able to stream, and some dickbag wrote on there, "Good fix PvP pussy," and Ninja sent a tweet out basically saying don't like something along the lines that PvP is toxic and stuff like that. And obviously there's a lot of people that weren't really happy with that, kind of saying, all PvPs aren't toxic and that kind of stuff. And yeah, so that's kind of what happened. And we don't really need to get into it too much, but I think the points that I kind of would like to clarify again here is, and what I did with him as well, it shouldn't be, this PvP label and even PvE label shouldn't be attached to it when we're talking about, toxic people and negativity and stuff like that, Because one, we don't know if they're really a PvP or they could be a PvE causing shit. And at the end of the day, we're trying to call out someone for being a dick, not, it shouldn't matter whether he is a PvP or a PvE. So, that's kind of the point I made to Ninja, that it's, it's more so good guys against bad guys than, PvEs against PvPers. And that's what it's kind of turned into more so lately. And as much as a lot of people want to, say that they're not mentioning the whole, like not meaning the whole PvP community, it comes across that way a lot. So it's just not beneficial to anyone to have that kind of stuff going on. So
Is there no one else he did a video not too long ago on it, and he put it perfectly. He was like, look, there's bad people out there, and we don't judge an entire population based off of one or two idiots.
exactly.
That's just not how it works. And just because you're in a PvP environment and that's where you ran into the idiot, the toxic idiot, doesn't mean that all PvPers are that way. The same way, if I'm running a dungeon and I run into a toxic idiot, I shouldn't say all PvEers are toxic idiots. And it's as simple as that. As a matter of fact, I was on the EU server earlier today on a level 24 and I got ganked right outside in the sewers, right outside the base. I got ganked on my level 24 and the guy messaged me and he said, "Do you like the taste of my dick?" And I say, "Congratulations, you just ganked a level 24. You're awesome." And then he goes on and on and on.
You should have just wrote back, "No, I didn't feel or taste anything." Yeah, you sure?
Anyway. He goes on and on for a paragraph about how awesome he is and how much of a noob I am and how much, has no clue who I am, and it doesn't matter. Like, level 24, my guy, and you're out there ganking people and then sending them, and he teabagged me and then he started doing push-ups on me while I was messaging him, and there are just idiots out there, absolute idiots, but that's not the entire population. You can't blame it on everybody, that's just how it is.
That's the main takeaway that I wanted people to take away from that chat with Ninja is, we need to stop putting that label on it because it's not achieving anything. And, you know, there was a lot of unnecessary drama that come from that tweet when he could have just called the person out for being toxic and left the PvP label out of it. And, you know, all that unnecessary drama wouldn't have happened and he would have achieved his goal anyway. Like, you know, his goal was to call that person out.
Does it win brownie points for him amongst the PvE community? Like he's the people's champion?
Well,
Like,
that's the problem. And unfortunately, a lot of them, as much as, you know, some people can separate, you know, some PvPers from the majority of PvPers, unfortunately, a lot of people don't. And the amount of, you know, toxic comments about people, they should just delete PvP and, you know, PvP is nothing but trouble. And, you know, like this is, you know, it's shared by a lot of people, that sentiment, and it's not kind of doing any favors by, you know, streamers or content creators kind of reinforcing that. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it's, as I said, you know, it's shitty people that need to be called out. It doesn't matter whether they're a PvE player or a PvP player. You know, if you want to call them out for being a dick, then call them out for a dick. Just leave the label out of it. But anyway, so we had that chat, and then we kind of got on to what communication and so forth should look like, because, you know, we all know that's been a pretty big topic within the community over the last few weeks or month or so. You know, you got Gina asking what communication should look like, so forth, and I decided that I was going to put a PvP council together, and it's still pretty early days, but we've got a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like, and it's going to be two parts, really. The first part of it will be a very detailed bug list on our website where we're going to note down a lot of... It's going to be kind of a thing that we're just going to have to work on over time, but we're not going to have, you know, tiny bugs that don't really matter. But the plan is... Yeah.
What's the name of the website?
Grilla HQ. So it's
Okay.
mine, Captain Crunch's, Sawman's, and Fragment Soul's website.
Okay.
So yeah, and the plan for that is to pull all information about any given bug from, you know, if it's mentioned by a stream team member, or if it's Gina mentions it on a tweet on Twitter, or if it's mentioned in one of Rich's streams, or, you know, in a forum post somewhere. Like, so that's the plan with that side of things, to just kind of have a very detailed, well, as detailed as we can, bug list with, you know, the status and all the information around said bug.
So how do the bugs get on your list? Is this strictly when it only is acknowledged by the developers at ESO? Or is
No.
it more just, I can submit my own bug list to your website and then see if it gets tracked by any way from Gina and the
Yeah,
gang?
so a lot of this is going to be highly community driven. So we haven't quite worked out how, but there will be a way for people to submit to our website. And, you know, whether it's us investigating it and realize, like, confirming that it's a real bug or whatever, then, you know, it'll be placed on the website. And, you know, the start of the information will be, you know, one, has ZOS confirmed it, or two, they haven't, kind of thing. That would be, you know, basic as the information will get as far as a bug is concerned. But as you can see, it's going to be a pretty big undertaking.
Hmm. Is there any plans to work with Gina and those guys over there to make
Yeah,
it a little bit
so
more official?
we haven't reached out to him just yet. Um, but what I want to do is kind of get our first. So we spoke about that. I suppose I should explain a little bit more what we have planned to do. So the PvP Council, like what I just spoke about, is kind of separate in a way to the actual PvP Council. But the job of the council will be to basically get all of the major issues in PvP from the community and put them into an easily digestible report for ZeniMax, and basically cut it down so we'll only have a handful of bugs that the community considers the most important, and we can touch on some the most important balancing issues and stuff like that. Basically, we want to hand Zos a piece of paper that is quite easy to understand and is very clear, because the PvP community doesn't have a very single clear voice. It's a lot of different people yelling a lot of different stuff. So yeah, that will be handed to them, and hopefully we can get some some communication with them over that.
How detailed or thorough is that bug list going to be? Where is it going to, for example, do I just say, hey, I can't break free? Or is it going to be something like, yeah, I can't break free, and then here's a link to a video going more in detail on what I think is causing the issue, showcasing that I can reproduce it that way? Because I think that's part. I know if I was a developer and I was, getting a bunch of submissions for like, fix break free, but you got to give me more information than that. Like, when is it happening? Is it happening during a specific time? Things like that. Is that kind of something that we can expect that'll be on your list, that level of detail, or is it just going to be something generalized and leave it at that?
Mm, there's obviously a fine line, but like when we don't really want to delve into performance kind of stuff. So, if it's a case of someone saying they can't break free because of lag, then that's something that won't be in there. But if it's, a bug that is, being caused in a certain circumstance and we can nail that down, then yes, that could be something that would be in the report.
I don't know. For me, if it were me, I wouldn't even submit a video reproducing it, because they went through with the ban hammer and dropped it on even raid guilds that they weren't reproducing a exploit or reproducing a thing. They were living it while it was live, and they got banned for it. And like, I have probably 10 different things. If they wanted me to reproduce it in a video, I could, but I'd fear that I'd get banned just for doing it, but I'd love to show them, where you can fall through the map and, block mitigation. Like that video I see where we're both sharing a screen, and on my screen the block sigil's up and on yours it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to show them things like that, but I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
because you don't know if you're going to get banned or not when you
Yeah.
think it's not an exploit. And the funny part is, Grim, when we fight the banners and I do my little trick, right? That would, after a long self-reflection for myself, I think that's an exploit. That could, I'm not saying I should get banned for it, but I was thinking about, hey, we need to fix the banners. They glitch out in certain areas, on AD side
Issues. Yeah.
or EP side, and I think these should be fixed, right?
Yes.
Because I take advantage of it. I've seen a bunch of people taking advantage of it, even in PvE dungeons. I know on Rich's stream, he takes advantage of mechanics, especially I know the one in Scale Caller's Peak, right, where you fight the matron, the giant, and you just kind of hang back, so you skip all the mechanics and you just kind of DPS the boss down.
Mhm.
Technically, that's an exploit as well. And again, back to the sewers. I would love to show some show some footage because I know how to reproduce it. It's not hard to do, but I'm probably gonna get banned for it. I
I
hope I don't get banned just by talking
I
about it, but
think, like, in regards to a lot of that stuff, I think the way that we will handle it is because the report is going to be made public. It will be something that will be hosted on our website. But, if there's more detailed videos into, how to exploit certain things, I definitely think that's something we could send as us, just not make public.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't see why it would be an issue if you put it on YouTube, but it was kept as unlisted or
Yeah.
private, and then you just sent the
And
link, and the only way to access it would be through the link. I think that would be all
yeah,
right because you're not really
I
sending it
yeah.
to everybody.
I don't think Zos would have a problem with that, and I think, in a lot of these circumstances, it would be, I guess, very handy for them to have video proof on how it's getting replicated and stuff.
They used to
So,
have a video that said that too. It was from a previous dev. I don't remember which one. I couldn't find the video anymore, but it said, video of how you can reproduce these effects helps us nail down how to fix
Yeah.
them. And I was looking for that because I wanted to submit that link for these raid people, these PvEers that got banned, in that raid. I wanted to submit that video but I couldn't find it.
It's almost like if you're gonna show a video on how to reproduce said problem, it's almost like you need that disclaimer in the beginning from the forum post that says, hey, this really helps us when you show footage on how to do said exploit or said bug so we can fix it. Thank you. And then play your video of you doing the exploit. That way, hopefully, that kind of covers your ass and you don't get banned right after.
Yeah.
So it's with Zos, it's kind of, and something I've battled with for the existence of this game. Obviously, I get told about a lot of things with regards to exploits and stuff like that. And, half of me wants to tell everyone, so then, it's out there, it gets fixed. The other half of me doesn't, because then, everyone will start using it. And I think half the problem, and there's been very strong cases of this over the years where there has been exploits and straight out cheating in the game that has been reported to ZeniMax by people, and they haven't acted on it, so those people have made said things public, and it's, been a massive shit show. But unfortunately, things don't get fixed until, it's in the spotlight, and sadly, it shouldn't be like that. Like, so it's always been a hard thing to kind of tackle.
Yeah. I wish there was an easier way to report extremely toxic behavior too, from players. Like that guy earlier today. It should be easier than, going to the customer service thing and help and then report a player and then hit the tab down. What are you reporting them for? Like it should be some type of, and they even have on there submit with a screenshot or something like that, but it's just not an easy process. It would be awesome if attached to the window, the message window, there was just a capture. So if somebody sent you something extremely toxic through that's bannable, you just capture that and it submits, and maybe there's a bunch of false whatever. Maybe you have to type or select something after you hit that button, but the report toxicity, we need to get these people out of the game. We just got to get them out of the game. They're poorly representing everyone, and they're cancerous to the entire community. So
It would be
And
nice. I was gonna say it would be nice if they kind of. I would like to see the process and like the. I know in League of Legends back in the day they had like this whole tribunal system where a report would be sent to like this court of justices or whatever, and then you could actually gain, we'll say crowns in this case. You can gain crowns in League of Legends by voting, voting on the appropriate outcome for this particular ticket. So if somebody was not teabagging you, Grim, but just writing a bunch of nasty whispers to you, then you just submit that report. It goes to the tribunal, and then from there, the tribunal will be judged by random ESO members, whoever logs into
See,
the
that's
system.
an
And
awful idea.
well, see, that's the thing, though. It actually works. It worked in League of Legends back in the day, and they used all that material to define or to better fine tune their automatic system that they have going today. And
Yeah, I
and
think
this
the
system's already
internet.
been implemented, and this was over like
Yeah,
back in early the 2011 to
I think the
2015
internet's
type of
a
thing.
different place now. That'd just be ripe for abuse, really. But
No, not really, because you only get rewarded if the outcome is deemed correct by your peers and stuff. Because if you just went in, putting in, mass report, or like yes, 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 screw this guy over, ban him for whatever, but then it really can't be abused. It really can't. And I'm only saying that because I've seen the system in place. This isn't, I'm not making this up saying, oh yeah, this is like some idea I thought of. No, it already exists in a different game completely.
Yeah.
but
What do we think that the process is right now? What's happening right now when people get reported? Who's reviewing it? Is it just AI?
I don't know, but I did report 2 folks over the weekend, and I got an email to my whatever email I have tied to my account saying, "Hey, thanks for your report," and they sent me all these details about the report I listed and stuff like that, and then that was kind of it. So I was like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of cool." It kind of made me feel a little bit better that I got some
I
notification on it, but
I I feel like it there's a lot of computer bans going on, and there's not an actual person involved, because most of my bans have been so dumb and have been instantly overturned when I've contacted them that I can't see an actual human doing that. So
what were your bans
I
in
don't know.
relation to?
It could be a human. Who knows? Like, unless they actually tell us, I don't think we'll ever know. But yeah, so yeah, back on topic. That's the plan. I've reached out to about 10 PvP streamers, content creators, and yeah, they've all supporting it. I have a pretty decent idea who's going to be a part of the actual council itself. It's only going to be 4 to 5 people. But that being said, it will be a highly community driven. So, all these other streamers that have, said they'll support it will still be part of it.
What's their role? What's the counselor's role? Is it they're going to use their platform to share this information? Like you guys will work together to make a video, and then that video link goes to everyone's community tab. Like what's the council's job, their role,
So part of it will be, as you said, kind of reaching out to our communities. We need to work out the finer details on exactly how reaching out to our community will look like. But basically, the PvP Council's job will be to take all that information from all the different communities and kind of break it down and make it, because obviously you're going to have 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 bugs that people have a problem with. And at the moment, Zos is getting all that from all different sources to all different areas. And, I guess could be very hard for them to kind of understand what the most important thing is to work on and, that kind of stuff. So our job will be to break that down into a handful of things, and go, look, Zos, this is what the community thinks is the most pressing and the most important issues that we think should be fixed. Like, this is where you should be putting your energy. And just even if it's getting feedback from that, look, okay, we know about this bug, but we aren't working on it, or we don't have any plans to work on it, or we know about this bug, we've got a fix in the works, kind of thing. So that basically be our job, to kind of condense down the community's voice into something that's a lot more clear and simple, I guess, is a good word.
Nice. We kind of talked about that when I was on Nephis's podcast. What was that, 2 weeks ago, Icy?
Yeah, like
3 weeks?
2-3 weeks. Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks ago. Because Nephis is on the ESO stream team, and he is under NDA, but, they can talk about certain topics. There's things that they can't talk about, but, I told him, I said, hey, you have the perfect platform. I was like, when was the last time you talked to Gina? And he was like, I don't know, last week, the week before, whatever, And I said, okay, when the last time I talked to Gina was? Never. And I tried, I'm like, so if you're in communication with Gina, that gives you a platform,
Yeah.
and
So yeah, starting off, we will have a stream team member in the council. As I said, I don't really want to confirm names just yet, but at this stage, there will be one person from the stream team in there. So that does give us, that avenue and that door in to, for one, actually have the report given to them.
yeah, I know who it is. I'm not going to say, but
A lot of people probably will be able to guess who it is, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. The PvP community needs a platform, and it would be your guys' job to filter out what's important and what's not, and then present something of quality to the powers that be. Because right now, like you said, there's just way too much noise in the PvP community. Not only about there's way too much noise with people fighting amongst themselves about this, that, and the other. And there just needs to be a very, like, here's our wish list right now. Please fix take flight. Please fix, our weapons underneath us. Please fix block mitigation. Like start with those three. I don't know. But please fix the stamina bug. I did a BG just a couple days ago, and I got a magicka bug, and I was on a stamina nightblade. Do you know how hard it is to play a stamina nightblade without being able to use shadowy disguise or your shade? It's very hard. It's very hard. And I literally zero magicka regen the only time I got magicka in the tank was when I actually popped a potion, and whatever the potion gave me, that's all I had to work with.
So yeah, and you've got Gina asking what communication with the PvP community could look like, and I think this is fundamentally it's doing a lot of the hard work for Zos, and I get it. It's hard to try and draw that line. Where do you not have enough communication and have too much communication? Like where is that line? And I think this is a good avenue for them to explore, whether it's at just the start, even if they're just acknowledging that they've received the report and read it. That's more than what we have at the moment in a lot of ways. So
yeah, because the forums are basically useless. It's just way too much noise there. Way too much noise. There's a bunch of kids fighting amongst each other. So
yeah, and I have other things that I'd like to achieve, because I think within the PvP community, there's a lot of great ideas on how to just improve PvP in general with what we've got. Because Zos has said they're not going to bring out new content. That's fine. But there's other things that they could easily implement that could improve day-to-day life for everyone. So maybe showing them those might something might come of it.
Do you think this would have more impact if, because I know Grim, you were talking about it with Nephis on his show, if the class reps were running something like this, kind of took some initiative outside of their actual responsibilities to kind of do what Johnny wants to do here? I feel like it would definitely carry more weight being class reps and then putting together. I know you guys got your own website, but make a website or maybe having some sort of structure to put all these bugs together,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
I think
they have one going to bat for them, so their communication line will go through that ESO class rep.
But there's no reason why they can't be a part of it. Fundamentally, the whole community is going to be a part of it. So,
yeah, well, it's more so proper lines of communication, because you guys can put together an amazing website and you can put together you can list all of the bugs and you can do polls to prioritize, like based on the community's responses. This is what prioritized what the community finds. But if there is no proof of life, there's no actual handing of that document to them, and you're hoping that they eventually, like, you could send a link to them and say, hey, please come check this out. We have 10,000 people that have done this poll, and if you want to know what the PvP community finds the most pressing issues, here's the report and blah blah blah. But it doesn't mean that they'll take any of it. That's where the communication breakdown is happening. That is
So yeah, as I said, we've got a way of getting it to Zos, and so like that was obviously a pretty important part of it. As you said, there's no if we could do this and spend 10,000 hours doing it and make it the most polished thing in the world, but if we can't get it to Zos and know that Zos has got it, then at the end of the day.
So Grim, it sounds like he's got a direct line to the president.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah.
Like
exactly,
you're like alluding to it.
yeah, that's good, because that was one of the things what Icy's talking about was a previous episode where I told Icy, this was a long time ago too, right, Icy? Maybe almost a year ago. And I was like, wouldn't it be nice to have a direct line to the president?
Oh, I think we've said that at least on maybe 10 episodes.
Oh, yeah. But to just call, and we don't use that phone all the time, right? We don't use it willy-nilly, but when we make the call, the president 100% picks up, and they know that we're not here to waste your time. Here's what it is. Take flight needs to be fixed, and here's the problems. It's going through block mitigation. It's going through resistances. It's causing 26k knockup or 26k fall damage from time to time. The wing animation, you need to just trash the current code, rewrite the code for take flight, to account for these things. And we could reproduce these things too. Like I could reproduce taking 26k fall damage from a take flight, or me holding block and taking 100% damage from take flight. So, or take flight being grayed out and not being able to be used at all. We can reproduce these things. So,
and fundamentally, that's kind of what the report is. It's kind of, these are the no bullshit. These are the serious things, like, and a lot of it isn't necessarily going to be working out what's valid and what's not valid. It's just going to be working out what's the most important. And I think just it's going to be a lot of work. Is just going to be working out the template too for the report, because finding that nice clean line between having enough information to get the point across and having as least information as we can, so it's easily digestible.
When can we I was gonna say, when can we expect the first iteration or the first post from the PvP Council?
I'm hoping to have something out within the next few weeks, and it's probably more so going to be, this is what we have planned for the future reports, because obviously it's going to take time reaching out to all the communities and ingesting all that data and all that information is going to take time. And this is something that, we're only going to do once, probably every couple months. So I want to get something out soon, because I think right now is the best time, just with, everything fresh in everyone's mind, and, Zos talking about communication and stuff.
Does the council main certain classes?
So I haven't worried so much about necessary classes. I've tried to pick players that are somewhat diverse. One, there won't be part-time PvPers as such. The only people that will be in there are full-time PvPers. And I've tried to cut the servers. So there's someone from console, someone from EU, someone from NA. But there is a few people that are multi-class.
I think that's good, because if I were Zoss, I wouldn't take you seriously if I'd be afraid of bias. If anyone mains a particular class, you never see them on any other class other than that, and then they're calling for a change to that class. I would, you know what I mean? I would be a little skeptical. So
exactly right, and but at the end of the day, it's not the job of the PvP Council isn't necessary to say, this is the change I want to make. It's more, okay, this is what the community has said. Like, obviously, there's always going to be bias within any kind of group of people, but, as much as we can, this is going to be community driven, and it's probably going to take time to, improve and, get something to where it's a functioning and, a decent system that can kind of operate well.
Yeah, Grim, I wouldn't write off the DK main though, because if he's asking for something like, hey, the leap isn't working in IC, that's a legitimate complaint. But if he's asking for something like, hey, this ain't doing enough damage, then yeah, you can be a little bit suspect.
Yeah, just give all my skills 20% more damage, please, and give my mag DK an execute.
yeah. I agree with that, Icy. Like, I agree with that. Like, even if somebody spent 90% of their streaming time on a DK, they should still be allowed to submit information saying take flight needs to be fixed, and here's the things, and here's the community polls, so you can see where it rates as a concern. So
as I said, I want to. There's going to be two things. One, we'll release something in the next couple of weeks that will be more so a look, this is what it's going to look like, or we may hold off 3 or 4 weeks and actually get a proper report out. As I said, it's pretty early days, so it's just a bit hard to say right now when and what will be out.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I was just thinking maybe do not like a trailer, but yeah, like a sneak peek. Hey, this is what we're working on. More to come soon. Something like end of February, something like that.
Yeah, I think getting a kind of proof of concept out would be awesome.
Yeah, and speaking of the January 27th announcement, I know they're going to be talking about the roadmap, at least for content-wise, what the plan is for this year. But I would be interested or curious if they actually talk about some of the things outside of the actual content, performance, things like that. Maybe give some detail what they plan on doing. Maybe providing a little bit more communication on a frequent basis is something we can expect starting in February. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
If they mention that.
ESO lives have got very commercialized, and they're more of a selling pitch now than actually communicating with the community. Well, that's the feeling I've got recently, anyway.
Well, they have a new person that got hired. I forget her name, but it's one of Nefis's friends.
Yeah, hopefully things change. That would be great.
Yeah, because I think Gina got promotion to a different to a different position now. So
Yeah.
we'll see with the new community manager what happens this year.
Cool. Real quick too. I don't know if you guys know about this, but we last week we launched a live feed of the Zero map on our website.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, it's just for PCNA on Greyhost, right?
Yeah, it's been up and down the last week. There's a few issues that we had to sort out, but that should be back up on Thursday, and we should have PCNA and PCEU. And hopefully not too long after that, we'll have both PlayStation and Xbox.
Nice. And are you doing just Greyhouse or Black Reach as well?
It will be the main campaign for each given server, so that obviously we'll have to do a little bit of investigation into what is the main server. We have had a chat about down the line getting multiple servers for multiple campaigns for multiple servers. It's just fundamentally the only real way to do it is literally run the game and live stream the map. So it is pretty intensive as far as
Oh, is that how you guys are actually implementing it?
Yes, we've looked into other ways of doing it, and there's not really, to have a live feed, there's not really another way to do it. So
I see. I wonder if you and Emma could create an app for it.
Probably, but we're just a two-man team, and we do have other projects in the works, so I don't think we could allocate resources for this type of project.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Or if there's somebody that out there that can develop an add-on that does it, like an embed. It's a map embed. That would be cool.
well, that's practically all we're doing on the website. So, but we do have plans to we should be adding like server population, and we're going to be trying to add a live chat as well. So like guilds could go on there and say, look, we're a DC guild. This is our invite string. If you want group, post. It's an interesting idea because it could quite easily turn into a shit show because you'd have all three factions that would have it, and yeah, so we've got to kind of be careful moving forward with that. But that's something else that we've talked about.
I mean, it would save some time, I think, because I know back in the day when I used to run with Imp and stuff before New World came out, he'd always type in Discord, "Hey, how's the map look like?" And we'd have to wait for somebody who was in game to respond. But having this level of access where you wouldn't even have to log in, you could just check a website. That would be kind of cool.
Well, there's two main reasons why people use it, and one is that exact reason. Like even I do it. I'll log in and just check the map and then log off. So having that, but what I've been doing is having it on my second screen. And, if I'm in a massive fight, I don't need to open my map up. I can see if, something's getting attacked or so on, so on. So, it's been really handy just to have on my second screen.
How does it refresh?
It's a live feed. So it's basically an in-bed stream.
Oh, so just having the map open, it'll just constantly refresh like every second as soon as something new happens on the map?
Yeah, so it's you're seeing it with about a 2 or 3 second delay.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you can practically use it as a live map.
Well, sounds good. Sounds like you got your work cut out for you, and looking forward to the announcement. See who's on the council and see how you guys put everything together. So It'll be good.
Yeah, and I'll have a video out on it too. But if people can leave a comment under this, giving it ideas on what they think it should look like, sharing this video, my video around, the more people that can see it and kind of have their feedback, the better. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't mean shit if we can't get a good chunk of the community involved in it. Because we're meant to be the voice of the PvP community, and we can't really do that without actually having the community involved. So
Yeah, definitely going to be a slow ramp up because I could just imagine people, in order to get the build up happening, a lot of people in Cyrodiil at the time, hey, check this website out. We got a live map. Go in there all the time. That
and
type of thing.
yeah, and I think that's where it's important, getting all the PvP content creators on board, so they can all individually kind of reach out to their communities about it. And, there's I suppose there's two big issues. And one is, there's always going to be people that are going to, feel like their point isn't getting across because, we're going to have to, reduce it down. And, there's going to be a lot of issues that can't make it. Unfortunately, there's just no way around that with what we want to do because, if we have every bug in the report that everyone gives us, then it's literally no different to what's happening right now, really. And, we could have a non-condensed form of the report as well. So that's something that we have talked about, kind of having the main report and then having a secondary extended version of, basically everything. And that's kind of what the bug site page on our website will be, kind of the overall extended version.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be fun. Like, I want the game to be fixed. I want things to get better, and trying the same things over and over and expecting different results. We all know what that is.
Passion. Love.
Well, the first sign of insanity, but
Yeah. See
And-
you again tomorrow. That's what we used to joke about.
and the second problem will be, and there'll be comments underneath this video of this podcast, going, well, don't even waste your time. Like, Zos isn't going to listen, and like, I get that, I understand it, and those people may be correct, but we've got to try, and eventually we might get something that works. So.
Yeah, if anything, just going through the work, the process, the methodology, you're gonna gain skills along the way that you could just transition into some other aspect of your life. So that's always a plus.
Yeah, and like, I think even if it's something internally, I think it will get used at SOS, even if it's something they don't want to admit to or, don't necessarily want to have an outward position on. I think it will be beneficial in the long run, even if we don't necessarily know about it being beneficial.
Yeah, maybe I was kind of thinking maybe they just Jeet Kundo your idea with the website once they see how you implement it, and then they kind of like, oh, okay, I like what they did here, but let's take these important bits and then restructure it over here on us, and then we just label it as something else, and then they just kind of rock with it, and then they'll never admit it, but you'll know that you inspired them to have this list of bugs that are easily accessible. So
At the end of the day, I would be extremely happy if that's what happened. So
yeah, because I think it was on one of our early episodes, Grim. Somebody admitted that they don't like taking direct ideas from the community because they want to figure it out on their own.
Yeah. I've heard
Yeah.
that from multiple sources.
and
Yeah.
and I've kind of heard that too, whether it's true or not. But that's where with the PvP Council and the report, we're not. It will be structured in a way of like not us telling them what to do, but more is here is some ideas. Like this is, kind of thing. So yeah, I've worked with a lot of people over the years that are like that. You just got to kind of let them think that they come up with it.
Well, cool. I guess all eyes are on you. We'll keep watching to see what you come up with. Did you have any other topics?
No, that's pretty much all I have to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah,
how
as I
about-
said, over the next couple of weeks, I'll hope that there'll be something out. There'll be an update of some description.
Nice. We'll watch for that and kind of see. I'm interested to see. It'll be nice to shut down all of the noise, people fighting amongst each other and the rocks being thrown from PvE side to PvP side, because that's really not what it's about, like you had said. It's good people versus bad people. And I think there's way more good people than there are bad people. We need to start getting the bad people out. So we clean up the reporting method to getting these bad people out, and I think that will help immensely. And then everybody cleaning up their message too. You can't blame the entire PvE population when you run into one toxic PvEer, the same way you can't blame the entire PvP population when you run into one bad PvPer. So
And
I think you'll do great.
yeah, and as far as, actual content creators, it is literally as simple as dropping that PvP badge or, or the PvE, just drop that out of whatever you're calling out or, whatever you want, because that's all that really needs to happen.
Yeah. What do you got, Icy?
Nothing else from me, but just for everybody else, we do have an audio version of the podcast that you can find on Anchor. We always put a link in the description down below. And of course, we have a Discord server, the Grimsforge Gaming Discord. You can find that in the description as well. And I think that is it. So we will catch you guys next week. See ya.
See ya.
Peace.
You're going to say bye-bye, Argonians.
Bye bye, Rogonian.